Hello everyone, welcome to English to Dorkar. I'm so delighted you people are here, and today I have my sister with me, and I actually will be interviewing her about her experience with English language. And she is actually a student of English honors, and she's very dedicated, motivated, and she understands English really well. And obviously, I'm very proud of her because she actually gets the things very easily. She doesn't really need a lot of help from others when it comes to deciphering texts and really getting into it. So I would really like to ask her questions about her journey of choosing English honors and how she's feeling about it right now, and how she is actually going to make her career, and whether English is going to be a part of that or not. So we will figure that out in this interview, and I hope it really helps you. And before I start this, let me tell you that one of my biggest intentions about doing this video is really exposing you to independent thinkers and how they navigate through their lives and how they figure out what they want to do in their life and really want to make an impact without being a ship in in this what would I say, in this social structure right now, that everybody is prescribing us to do something, but she is someone who is really figuring out what she wants to do in her own terms and how she's doing that and how you can do the same. That is the main reason why I'm doing this video in the first place. And she is Shebunti Dash, and she studies English honors in the Sanskrit College and University, and I'm really delighted that she is my sister. Okay, so I'm going to start this interview without much ado, and so I would like to ask you a question about how did you actually get to the position where you decided that you will study English honors, and what do you feel about that decision now?
In the first place, I started or I chose English as my major was for, I think, because I really enjoyed reading the Shakespearean drama that we had for our ISC examination. That was, I think, the most important reason why I chose English. I really enjoyed the drama, reading it or trying to interpret it in various ways, like the social implications in the drama, the language, the characters, the various levels that the drama had. And that is the main reason I went for English. And
So was there any societal reason at the same time?
for choosing English,
Yeah,
no.
not really? Okay. So what other things do you think one student should have in order to become a good student of English honors? So if somebody wants to study English honors, what are the things that you think that they should have in order to be actually good with it, or can do that so that they can do it effortlessly?
It depends on the student. It depends why that person wants to study English. It's not like everyone wants an academic career. I think a large chunk of students who go for English is because it has a good reputation that it would get them good jobs in especially private sectors, because there's no such recommendation or requirement for government jobs. But I think that is an important reason why students go for English. And for those who want to go for English for the sake of English, uh, the it again depends on how that person studies or how they can understand or remember stuff. For me, at least for the grammatical portion of English, I depend largely on intuition. because since I was a child, I observed and kind of figured it out how the language works or how I should speak it, how it is written. I did not really try to learn the grammar or the theoretical part. I kind of depend on my intuition.
Okay, talking about intuition, what are other factors? Do you think it's more of, a talent, or is it more about some environmental things, and how to really navigate through that complexity of environment and talent, personal talent? And what would be your suggestion when it comes to someone who really wants to learn English and may not have a flair for it? Because to be honest, English is important whether one studies English honors or not. At some level, career wise, the kind of career most of us look for, they need English. So what to do, is it possible to develop that intuition or not?
I have no idea if you can really develop intuition because I mean both intuition and being able to learn theoretically are talents, and and then again it depends. There are degrees in which you can, which you need English in your life. If you need English for just interviews or maybe communicating with people on a basic level, you really don't need to study English honors or be an expert, because language is basically being able to connect with other people, and
Exactly.
you don't need to be a pro for doing that. And if you want to go for English honors, I have classmates who are quite intuitive and others who are not. So if you are not intuitive, you will learn your own way. You will I think try to learn it more theoretically, read more books, maybe try to memorize stuff more. And for me, I don't really read a lot of critical theory. I try to get to know about them in, I think, very subtle manners. I maybe I can learn about something from my family just over a discussion, or maybe from my friends again discussing, or watching a movie, and if I think that there's something interesting in that or some underlying message, I can Google it or look for a book which on that topic. So it's really up to you, your comfort, things like that.
What would be your suggestion about those people who are struggling with being committed to learning English, and maybe they are not getting enough support from the environment? So how to support themselves, like how to stay committed when your environment is really not helping you to be? How to shape your environment, or how to actually improvise your own method of learning so that it can be fruitful for you?
I think as books are really expensive and very hard to get, internet is very useful. You can avail quite a lot of stuff on the internet. And other than that, very cliche stuff like listening to music, English newspapers, cartoons maybe.
Yes, I talk about that a lot.
Cartoons for kids.
Yeah.
Then music is really helpful. Movies. Stuff like that. Just
Stuff like that.
listening to English daily, maybe for a few minutes or half an hour or something like that, because that has helped me a lot. I could not understand English when I was a kid. I listened to English music, I watched movies, but I could not understand every word of it. But gradually I observed that it was getting better, and now it's pretty good. I can understand well.
So, talking about, actually, you really brought out a good point, that you did struggle with understanding those accents. And then again, there are different accents: Australian accents, Canadian accent, British and American accents. And so, do you think that exposing yourself to listening to those things, even when you don't understand, is the key to learn, learn the skill of getting those ways of talking, or those words that they are saying?
Yes, I think it is important, and then again, I think another important thing is the words, because I mean, when we start getting in touch with English,
Hmm.
none of us have a good vocabulary. So
That's true.
that is again crucial, because it often happened that when I was listening to something, they said something which I had no clue what the word is. So I
Mm.
just got the sound and I could not interpret it. I could not even use my intuition to fill the gap because I did
Yeah.
not have the information.
Mm.
So listening to stuff and reading as well helps, because you need to know the words, improve your vocabulary. Otherwise, you will not uh, be able to understand the meaning.
Mm. So what do you think that what do you think should be the basis of one picking their career, and how to really do that? How did you do that, and how are you still doing it?
I did not pick a career when I was in school or when I chose my major. I mean, not at least, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I had various interests, I still do. And what is really important for me is that I like to do a lot of different things which
Mm.
are quite uh, different from each other.
Right.
And so I try to incorporate various things in my life
Yeah.
and in my career,
Mm.
which is a bit confusing sometimes, and there are not a lot of opportunities if you have that interest and you want to incorporate all those. So I do not have a strict plan or career,
Mm.
but I have interests, and I'm sure that I will be uh,
Pursuing those
pursuing
things.
those things.
That's really interesting. So you are saying basically that it's okay not to know what you really want to do, and go out in the world figuring things out.
Yes.
So being honest with yourself is very important, that what your interests are, and really understanding the difference between where your interest lies and what the society wants you to do. Or they are saying that, okay, this is going to make money, but honestly, something that you are not interested in is not really going to make a lot of money. But anything that you genuinely are interested in has the potential of you being able to make a lot of money. So that is a very, very important thing to remember. And then, talking about all these things, I would ask you another question, and that is, how did you develop your own accent, or how did you develop to speak the English language the way you do?
It changes, and it is really not something constant. It depends on my mood, it depends on the things that I have been reading or watching recently.
Mm.
I tried to mimic accents when I was a kid and even now. And I try to find a fine balance with what I'm comfortable with and what I want to achieve.
Okay, now talking about mimicking, I had made another video about faking an accent. So, what's your opinion on that?
On on faking an accent?
Yeah, because in that video I had argued about, when we actually are learning a different language, we are not doing it naturally. So it is about faking. So when it becomes too much, and what to really do to be in a, normal ground.
Okay, so first of all, there are many languages in this world, and the accents are mainly created because of the way our tongue moves while speaking a language. So I think the language or the languages that we speak since childhood kind of creates a way or a comfort zone for our tongues for the way they move. And if we are trying to learn something which challenges that practice or that movement, it will be a little weird for us.
Yeah.
But that is what that language needs, I think. The way that they speak it, it is their way of the language. And we all try to do that to some extent, I think. Because then let us take Bengali, for example. There are different dialects of Bengali. There's one, let us say, as whole of West Bengal and Bangladesh. So then, if we say that faking an accent is kind of fake
Yeah.
in our case or our self, then we should not speak Bengali the way Bangladeshis do.
Yeah.
Then we must demand a Bengali that is same everywhere. But that is not the case, and we accept that. And I think we should kind of be, a little fluid, or fluid in the way we try to accept the foreign languages, mainly English or
Yeah.
European languages. And I think the reason why we are really worried or bothered about faking an accent when it involves European languages is a lot because of white supremacy or things like that. Because it kind of makes us feel insecure, or we think that that is really something out of our league, or there are various psychological things and physiological as well.
Yeah.
So if we can be comfortable with different accents of English and the different individual accents of English, then
Yeah.
we should be more generous and accepting of the European accents that we have or the rest of the world has.
Another social question, talking about white supremacy and this kind of expectations about languages, we often hear this from different people that, aren't you proud of your mother tongue? Why do you need to learn English? What do you have to say about those kind of, criticism we get, or the kind of message that part of the society give, and at the same time another part of the society says that if we don't know English then we are worthless. So how to really strike a balance between these two opposing narratives?
It's your choice what you want to do, and the people who say these things or maybe try to force you into their form of beliefs and thoughts, then that is really not fair. That is kind of that is very close to a urban term called grammar Nazi, where
Yeah.
so can you repeat the question?
Yes, of course. So I said how to strike a balance between those who say, why do you need to learn English? Aren't you proud of your mother tongue? And those who say, if you don't know English, then your life is worthless. You have no, chance in the world to succeed.
Yeah, right. So I think the most important factor here is that as an animal, as being human, we are curious and we have always wanted to get to know different things, discover, invent, and languages are just the same, different things which we would like to know about. And English is popular because I mean, this is the age of globalization. The English were colonizers. They had established their empire all over the world a few hundred years ago or 100 years ago, and that is why you can find English almost everywhere. And America is like one of the superior, I mean, like one of the most powerful nations currently.
Economically superior.
Yes,
Yeah.
economically. So, in order to develop business connections with them, we need to communicate with them, and that is why we need to learn their language. And curiosity is important because not just English, languages like Spanish, currently Korean,
Chinese.
these are like socially, economically important. And I think for our neurological faculty, we are curious beings and we like to know new things, and we will keep doing that.
That is really an amazing answer, and I think that's an amazing attitude to have. So this is important. We kind of need to be like comfortable in our own skin, in our own decisions. If you have chosen to learn English, that's fine, and you should be proud of that. And at the same time, if you haven't chosen it, and if you just choose to focus on your mother tongue, you should be fine with that too. Or if you want to strike a balance between the two, that's fine too. So that should be up to you, and you must be careful that no other force that you don't want to impact you impacts you. So that is really important. And another thing I would like to ask you, that in the Indian context, we have like a diverse culture. We have like numerous uncountable numbers of languages in our country, and we also have like Hindi as the language of the majority, but that is the language of about 51 or 52%, and like 48% of the people in India speak in different languages. And even those people who are regarded as part of the Hindi speaking group have different languages. They are not like uniformly they are not uniformly part of the same language. So in that case also we need a lingua franca, a common language to communicate. And what do you think is more feasible when it comes to English, or I mean feasible when it comes to picking the lingua franca, Hindi or English, according to you, like
In our country?
in our country? Yeah.
Okay, so Hindi has been really important as a language in our country, I think, since when the freedom fighters started
Fighting for
independence, because most of the like the front runners of the freedom fighters spoke in Hindi, and they communicated with the rest of the country in Hindi.
Yes.
And after that, the Bollywood industry has really contributed to the popularity of Hindi in our country, because speaking of white supremacy, there is a Hindi supremacy, I believe, at least in Bengal, because I have observed that, let us put English aside and take Bengali and Hindi as our languages here. And what I have observed is that people the Bengali people who can speak Hindi have some kind of they feel superior compared to the people who cannot speak Hindi. And when I go to places like maybe a shopping mall or somewhere expensive, I have seen Bengalis talking to each other in Hindi.
That's really strange.
That is strange, but it is some kind of a Hindi supremacy that we have, so that also contributes to the popularity of Hindi. And I do not think that the lingua franca for India should be English, because uh, education is not available throughout India, and Hindi is something quite close to us compared to English. So, uh, like, people from all the stratas in the society would need to work even harder to learn English and be able to communicate with the rest of the country. And I think it would also create not a really good feeling for most of the English people. I mean, not most of the English people, most of the Indian people, because of nationalism, and because of like the image that English has as a language, people will become even more self-conscious, and I don't think they will like to accept it as a medium of communication in
That's
our country.
right. That's
And
right.
I do not think that it is really important right now, because people can communicate well with all the languages that we have now, and it is really not important.
That's really, really, a very humanist view of the whole thing. And it has really been a pleasure talking to you. And especially, we do talk at home a lot, but I never actually got to discuss things like this in this way before. And I'm really delighted to actually have this conversation. um, this is, really, really amazing. And I really hope that it's going to help the viewers get a concept or an idea about how people talk in English. So, because in most of the videos, I mean, like, I do the talking. So here that was like two people interacting with each other, so that was a really, really good thing for you to view. And I would really like to know what you think about this video, and what's your take on these questions that I asked and she answered. And you people are amazing, and if you're getting lots of value out of this channel, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. And please comment and share this video with your friends. Thank you so much for being here. Bye bye.